What up, peeps? Tony Baker here, back with another episode of Gross Pointe Bake. It's where I talk about, I'm breaking down the numbers of everything, man. I'm a numbers nerd. Box office grosses, album sales, TV ratings. I'm all in. I'm in on all of it, man. I'm all in. Big in. That's what they call me in the hood. Big in. In this episode, I want to break down the top selling R&B albums of all time. Now, here's my dilemma. What do we consider R&B? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's debatable on if Thriller is an R&B or a pop album. So I was just like, you know what I'm saying? It was questionable, and everybody has their different take on it. I did a poll, and a lot of people consider Thriller to be pop. So I was just like, all right, well, I'll just keep it more focused R&B. So then, you know, I was questioning, like, you know, is Mariah Carey considered R&B? I feel like, you know, Daydream is R&B. You know, Mariah Carey's first two albums, actually first three, you know, Mariah Carey's self-titled debut, Emotions, Music Box. I don't know. A lot of people consider those to be in the pop realm, if you will. That pop. So I don't know if I should include Mariah Carey. I'm not going to include Thriller. I'm taking soundtracks off the table, so there'll be no Bodyguard soundtrack, no Purple Rain soundtrack, no Waiting to Exhale, even though the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack is definitely R&B. I took those off the table. So with Mariah Carey off the list, and we could debate about that later. Another debate I'm having is, do I include the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill? Is the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, is that an R&B album or rap album? Now, me and Sabrina, we did the math. We went through the album. She's singing on more tracks than she's rapping on. She's rapping on about 6 tracks of a 16-track album. So that makes it lean towards R&B. And I might have already put Lauryn Hill's The Miseducation, I already put it on the hip-hop list, but that's neither here nor there. Because Lauryn Hill is hip-hop, goddammit. She's hip-hop and R&B, but she's hip-hop. So I couldn't leave her off the hip-hop list. She may or may not be on this list. But let's get to it, man. The top 14. I'm going to do 14. It's a random number, but hey, this is what you're getting. I'm going to do the top 14 best-selling R&B albums. And here we go. Number 14, Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation. Now, the Rhythm Nation album, now some people debate on if Janet Jackson is R&B. She is R&B as far as I'm concerned. The Rhythm Nation album, you know, you got some tracks that might feel like pop and dance, you know what I'm saying? But at the core of it, Janet is R&B McGee. She came in hot with her album that followed up her smash album, Control, which sold 5 million copies. Rhythm Nation actually sold 1 million more than Control, and it's coming in at number 14. We got, what's that song? What Would I Do Without You? That's R&B right there. You know what I'm saying? Jaimin Hunsu running through the desert, white pants on, the black and white video, man. It was good times, man. Most of the videos in this album were in black and white, but Escapade, that's R&B. You know what I'm saying? So Janet Jackson is coming in at number 14. Number 13, Janet Jackson yet again. Janet Jackson, the Janet album. That's the way love goes. Anytime, any place. This is when Janet, in my opinion, came into her sexy. This is when she came into her R&B. This is when she became a sex symbol. Before this, Janet wasn't sex symbol McGee. She was just like, yo, man, she's making the hits, she dancing, she's just whatever. But now, Janet's grown now. Oh, she grown and sexy out here. Remember the iconic photo of her, no shirt on, and there was somebody holding her breast? Remember that? I was just like, what's happening there? Whose hands are these? And all the guys in my school, all of us, we wanted to be the hands. We wanted to be the hands that was holding Janet's breasts up. We wanted to support, to come in. Sabrina wanted to be holding the breasts up. You know what I'm saying? Many women would be like, I'll hold your breast, Janet. Whatever the case may be, that album sold like hotcakes. 6 million copies sold. It was a great album. The song, That's the Way Love Goes, is probably one of my favorite Janet songs of all time. She had massive hits on this record, and it's definitely one of the top-selling R&B albums of all time. Number 12. It's funny that it's number 12 because R. Kelly, 12 Play, is number 12. R. Kelly, I know he's a piece of shit. We know this. We know what he's done. But I'm still throwing him on this list because the numbers don't lie. And 12 Play was a massive R&B smash. This album was everywhere that year it came out. Bump and Grind, Your Body's Calling. 12 Play hit the world by storm. It was R&B at its best at that time, and it's considered one of the best-selling R&B albums of all time. Now, if you look at the numbers, if you go back and fact-check me, you're going to be like, well, no, R. Kelly's R album sold 8 million copies. Well, that's because it's a double album, and you know the double album should be cut in half. So even though it says 8 million, according to RIAA, which is what I'm basing this list on, the certification says 8 million copies sold. Since it was a double album, it's actually 4 million. 12 Play is a single album, and it sold well over 6 million copies. So in essence, Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, Janet Jackson's Janet, and R. Kelly 12 Play are kind of tied at 6 million, but I'm just going by who was certified first. Now, number 11, Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel. Coming in at number 11, 7 million albums sold. Don't Be Cruel, My Prerogative, Every Little Step I Take. What's that song, man? Oh, I can't think of the name of it. My Heart. Is it Tenderoni? Roni, that song. This R&B album right here smacked everybody in the face. It made Bobby Brown a bona fide R&B giant. Still one of the best-selling R&B albums of all time. You couldn't escape it. It was a moment in time. He changed the whole style of music at that time with the New Jack Swing coming in, and it was just like he kicked the gate open for like Jodeci and cats like that. So Bobby Brown, Don't Be Cruel, number 11, 7 million copies sold. Number 10, not only in the top 10, it's serious business now. Destiny's Child, The Writings on the Wall. 8 million copies sold. Destiny's Child, second group album, was selling like hotcakes. You had Bills on there, Say My Name, hit the country by storm. It lets you know that Destiny's Child was here to stay. Even though they weren't technically here to stay, but they were kind of here to stay. But it was like, you know what I'm saying? You know what it was. But it lets you know that Destiny's Child wasn't just this group you just gonna forget about after their platinum debut. So it was like their second album, no sophomore slump. They was like, yo, we gonna elevate the game in these sophomore streets and show y'all what it is. And this album was a smash hit. This still had the original 4 members before 2 of the members left. And the writings on the wall was the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall was that Destiny's Child got hits. And we got the sales to back it up. Number 10. Number 9. Toni Braxton's self-titled debut album. Toni Braxton. Breathe Again. What's that other song? Another sad love song. It's just another sad love song. She had that deep voice, the short haircut. It was a vibe. Babyface was in his writing bag. Toni Braxton came in hard and fast, selling 8 million copies on the street. Number 8 is Toni Braxton again with her sophomore album, Secrets. 8 million copies sold. Toni Braxton came in. She was like, sophomore slump, not on my watch. You're making me high. Unbreak my heart. Toni Braxton was like, yo, I'm here to stay, y'all. I ain't playing with y'all. I'm going to let my hair grow out a little bit, and y'all going to take these goddamn hits. And Toni Braxton came in with the 1-2 punch of debut album and sophomore album. And she was doing it. And Toni Braxton was a whole vibe. She was a whole look. She came in, sounded distinct, and it worked for her, man. You know, the third album didn't do as well, but hey, man, she got two albums that are in the running for best-selling R&B albums of all time. Number 7, Whitney Houston's Whitney album. 9 million copies sold. Whitney Houston's Whitney album. I Want to Dance with Somebody. That's what's on this album, man. Whitney Houston followed up her debut album with this sophomore smash. And she was like, yo, man, I'm out here. I'm singing hard. I can't really dance. I'm going to stand in one spot and do a little something. But I ain't going to give you the full choreography because dancing ain't my strong suit. But I'm the voice, goddammit. Whitney Houston is the voice. She can stand still and just sing you under the table, and that's all we need her to do. You know what I'm saying? Janet Jackson got the moves, but does she have Whitney's vocals? Nah, she don't. And no disrespect to Janet, but we know what it is. Whitney got that voice, robust. We don't need her moving around. She was standing there in one spot, singing her ass off. Whitney sold 9 million copies, man. Sophomore album. Number 6, Boyz II Men, Cooley High Harmony. Their debut album, straight R&B, 4-man group. Mike Bivins discovered these cats from Philly. They came in hard and fast. Motown Philly's back again. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. They came in smacking everybody up in the industry. 9 million copies sold on your debut album as a 4-man R&B group. Those are real numbers, man. Real numbers they was doing out here. Boyz II Men came in smooth, and they wasn't all heartthrobby individuals. They were just regular guys. They were regular guys that you feel like, yo, man, they ain't come in all mad, sexy, and shirt offy. You know what I'm saying? They just came. These were regular guys singing hard, singing good, and we was all in. 9 million copies sold. All right. We got number 5. So now we getting a little bit more current now. See, now we've been in the early 90s. You know what I'm saying? We came up a little bit with the Destiny's Child album. You know what I'm saying? We was in the mid 90s. Now we're coming up a little bit. Usher, Confessions, number 5. 10 million copies sold. Diamond status. Diamond. This is the first Diamond status album on this list. Diamond means 10 million copies sold. Confessions did that. Confessions sold over 1 million copies this first week on the R&B tip. Male R&B. You know what I'm saying? This Confessions album was a movement. This was a moment in time. We was all in. We was all in on the story. We was all in on the hits. We was all in on the dancing. Usher was doing it all and doing it well at this time. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock on the dot. I got my drop top cruising the streets. I got my Glock cocked is what I like to say. That's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? We was all invested when he got that call at the studio and he was like, I got to call you back. Let it burn, baby. Let it burn. Confessions was a moment. That's why people say, you know what I'm saying, Usher versus Chris Brown. Chris Brown ain't got this kind of album. Chris Brown don't have a Confessions. No disrespect to Chris Brown. But Chris Brown don't have a Confessions. We was all in for a full-length, long album on Confessions. That's why it's number 5 all time. 10 million copies sold. Number 4, Stevie Wonder. Songs in the Key of Life. I don't think y'all realize how iconic this album is. So many people have remade the songs on this album. You hear so many of the songs from this album in TV shows and movies and commercials. This album right here is eternal right here. Stevie Wonder was in his goddamn bag. Stevie Wonder was a hit machine, and this album is one of those albums that stood the test of time, got better with time. And it's one of those albums that's always mentioned on the best albums of all time list. You always see this album listed. And that's not just R&B, just albums, period. You are going to see this Stevie Wonder album mentioned on the best albums of all time list. It's going to pop up. It's going to show up. It's going to be in your face. It's going to be out there. Now, honorable mention. I didn't fully throw it on this list. If I did, it would be right underneath Usher Confessions. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is certified at 10 million sold. Now they added in the streaming because it was at 7. With streaming and everything, it boosted it up to 10. Lauryn Hill's album is Diamond, but it's debatable on if it's hip hop or R&B. Even though it's mostly R&B, I figured we can throw it in here on the honorable mention tip. Give Lauryn Hill her just due. She has a Diamond album, and since she is historically, a hip hop artist, we throwing it on this R&B list as an honorable mention. Not even an honorable mention, but low key up in here, right snuggled underneath Usher at that 10 million mark. All right, so we putting Lauryn Hill in there, sort of, kind of. So Lauryn Hill's also in there. Number 3, TLC, Crazy, Sexy, Cool. I remember when this album hit the streets. It came out like November of that year, 94. Came out the same week as Mary J. Blige's My Life album. The TLC album kept selling. They came out, their debut album was an absolute smash hit. Almost made this list damn near. And they followed it up with a sophomore album that far surpassed the stunning debut that sold like hotcakes. You got Creep, you got Red Light Special, you got Waterfalls that was just an absolute smash. I remember they spent like damn near a record at the time, $1 million on the Waterfalls video, had a great message. Digging on You was crazy. It was so many fire songs on this album. TLC came out with a whole look, a whole style, a whole vibe that we were all in on. And a lot of women could relate. Like, whether you were the crazy, sexy, or the cool girl, which one were you? Which one did you identify with? What about you, Sabrina? Which did you identify? Sabrina related to the sexy part of the album, you know what I'm saying? The chilly part. Crazy, Sexy, Cool remains the best-selling album from a girl group, I believe, on the domestic side. I'm not sure if Spice Girls beat that record worldwide or not, but Crazy, Sexy, Cool remains one of the best-selling albums of all time. Definitely super high on the R&B list. Number 2. And also at 12 million, but they hit 12 million a little bit earlier. Boyz II Men, yet again, with the 2 album. 2. They did not have a sophomore slump whatsoever. The 2 album came out, smacked everybody across the lips, man. I'll Make Love to You, On Bended Knee, Water Runs Dry, Thank You, Vibin'. It was like hit after hit with this album, and we were all in. It was just like it was a part of the summer, man. I remember being a senior in high school and like going to college parties, and we were listening to this album. I was just like, yo, this 2 album is fire, man. Boyz II Men was back again. And what I like about Boyz II Men, they can sing. You know what I'm saying? They can sing. It wasn't one dude got the voice. It was like 3 of them had the strong voice, and Michael gonna come in with the smooth, deep voice on the conversational tip. You couldn't go wrong. They were the regular guys back again, selling like hotcakes, and you couldn't stop 2. You could not stop 2. And it was a basic name. It was simple. It was like 2, man. This is all it is. 2. Cooley High Harmony 2, if you want to call it that. But it's 2. And it's up here, 12 million copies sold, R&B. Number one R&B album of all time. We not putting Thriller in here. We're not doing the Bodyguard soundtrack. We're not doing Purple Rain. We're doing R&B. Number 1, Whitney Houston's self-titled debut album. 13 million copies sold. Whitney Houston is a goddamn giant in the sales department. If we want to include the Bodyguard soundtrack, which is mostly her, that album right there is sold damn near 17 million copies. So we just gonna let that lay. And she already got 2 albums on this on this list right here. So Whitney Houston is a goddamn giant. She's a monster. Whitney Houston's debut album, she's sitting there. She got on the nice little flowy little wraparound dress. Her hair pulled back. She's just sitting there looking like a goddamn black queen on the album cover, man. Straight out of Jersey. Singing your ass off. Out the gate. Mad copies sold. And it was just a beautiful thing to see, man. Whitney Houston is legend. She's number 1 on this R&B, the best-selling R&B albums list that I've just crafted up based on the RIAA certifications. Now, if we are including Mariah Carey, I'm going to just throw this out there just so you know what Mariah Carey is working with. All right? Mariah Carey's Daydream album sold 11 million copies. That would put her at number 4 on this list if we included Daydream. Mariah Carey's Music Box album sold 10 million copies. So she has 2 diamond albums. Mariah Carey's self-titled debut album sold 9 million copies. And Mariah Carey's Emancipation of Me album sold 6 million copies. Let me tell you something, man. Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston are not playing with y'all. Now, if we consider Mariah Carey to be R&B, then this whole list changes, and it's mad Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey all up and through this thing. So I just wanted to throw that in there for good measure, just to be fair. But maybe we can throw Mariah Carey on a separate list. But that's the list. Top selling R&B albums of all time. Did the albums you expected to be on this list, did they show up? You probably expected Mary J. Blige to be up in here, but she didn't quite get up to those numbers like that with one particular album. So you didn't see the Mary J. TLC's first album could have made it on here. She was close, but couldn't quite. Control by Janet Jackson also almost made this list. But you know what it is. But that's the list. That's the tops in R&B, man. Let me know what you thought of the list in the comment section below. Also, out of this list right here, what's your favorite album from this list? What's your favorite album out of all of this? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, I'm also taking ideas of lists that you want me to do in the future. Let me know. I'm all ears. I'm open. So let me know. We can do this. We can put it out here. But shout out to everybody on this list. Whitney Houston, Boyz II Men, TLC, Stevie Wonder, Usher, Tony Braxton, Destiny's Child, Bobby Brown, R. Kelly, Janet Jackson. Yeah, I gave a shout out to R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how y'all feel about that, but I just threw it in there. I was in the moment. And you know what I'm saying? Honorable mention, shout out to Mariah Carey and Lauryn Hill. But thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of Gross Pointe Bake. Be on the lookout for more lists coming soon, man. We out.